Have you ever heard of the Princess K of the Milky Way competition?
I've not.
Princess K? I have not, no. What is it?
Is Princess K the one who is the winner of the butter sculpting competition? Something like that.
I know that like annually they do like a sculpting of butter, and they have like faces and different things that a lot of people go crazy over it. I guess it's like a tradition.
All I know is that they make sculptures of I don't know, I think they make sculptures of like celebrities or people or whatever, but that's all I really know.
Do you know anything about the butter sculptors or who makes them?
Usually a skilled butter carver, and they're made in the image of the girls who participate in the competition.
How many pounds of butter do you think it takes for each sculpture?
At least maybe like 100.
I do not. I'm sure a lot.
A lot.
I'd estimate 50.
100?
Awesome. That's it. Thank you. Have a good one.
It takes 90 pounds of butter to do one sculpture. I'm Linda Christensen, and I know these facts because I've done the butter sculpture for 50 years at the Minnesota State Fair. I think I was meant to become the butter sculptor at the state fair because I was a state fair lover long before I ever heard of butter sculpture. So I was trying to find ways to support my time at the Minneapolis College of Art and Design. And I took on all kinds of jobs that were a little offbeat, shall we say. The placement officer at the college called me one day and said, "I've got one for you. How would you like to sculpt butter at the Minnesota State Fair?" I jumped at it. I thought, how fun could that be, working every day at the state fair? The challenges to doing butter sculpture is, first of all, keeping your hands warm. I had a little trick. I would go out on my warm-up breaks to the back parking lot. The hot sun beat down on car, and I'd hold my hands over the hood of a car until they warmed up, and then run back in and start sculpting again. The big challenge is getting one a day done and getting a likeness that you hope will be approved by all the family members and members of the town that the princess is from, that are kids that came up from the 4-H building that know her, and they're all standing out there watching. To create one sculpture, it went into how long it would take me. Things like short hair versus long hair. People thought that long hair would take me longer, but no, it's short hair. Another thing that could slow me down was very curly hair, but I always loved the way those turned out when the hair was really curly. Some of the favorite things about working with princesses were how absolutely dedicated and wonderful they are. Those women are chosen for their ability to represent their family's business. Another wonderful thing about working with them was that their families showed up during the time that I was doing the butter sculpture, and then they continued to visit me, and as did their daughters, year after year, and I heard the ongoing stories of their life, what happened to them after their time as Princess K contestants. So many of them stayed with the dairy industry in some way or another. People like David Letterman were talking about it on the Night Show, and I got an opportunity to do art that actually reaches people and affects people. I could not have gotten that kind of recognition no matter how many gallery shows I might have been doing, not like the kind of reaching out to people with my art, like with butter sculpture.
I was very excited, like many of the other young ladies who are Princess K finalists are, to have my likeness sculpted in 90 pounds of butter. My family has always loved butter. My dad will butter any form of bread, even a hot dog bun, so I know he was also excited to have 90 pounds of butter coming back home after the state fair as well. And I do think that my sculpture certainly does look like me. So my role as Princess K started the night before the Minnesota State Fair when I was crowned. Just a few minutes after I was crowned and was able to take it all in with my fellow finalists up there on stage, I dove into doing media interviews. I started early the next morning, the very first day of the Minnesota State Fair. At 5 a.m. I was out there again in front of the gates, sharing with others the excitement of the Minnesota State Fair starting, and of course sharing Derry's story as well. So after that very exciting 12 days wrapped up, full of interviews, presentations on stages, conversations with people of all ages, I dove into the rest of my year. So some of the other things I did throughout the year included school visits. I was able to visit many classrooms and interact with kids, which is always a lot of fun. They ask some great questions, and it's great to see their excitement and their interest in agriculture through those events. I also enjoyed a variety of different community events throughout my year, whether it was serving ice cream, waving in a parade, of course several media interviews all throughout the year as well. So it really was a year filled with a lot of variety, but the underlying theme of sharing Minnesota's dairy story was always there. I was inspired to pursue becoming Princess K of the Milky Way because of the hard work that I see my parents and other family members put in on our farm each and every day. And I know that that's not unique to my family. Dairy farmers across the state of Minnesota, across the Midwest, and all throughout the country work hard each day to make sure that their animals are being really well cared for, to make sure that we are being sustainable and caring for our environment, and also to make sure that we are providing a very nutritious food for our fellow community members to enjoy as well. Serving as Princess K of the Milky Way is something that I dreamed about since I was a young girl. So I really started as a Nicollet County Dairy Ambassador and then later a Nicollet County Dairy Princess. I was fortunate to have great leaders and mentors who taught me the ins and outs of what being a dairy princess meant and helped me study questions and learn how to better present myself, whether that's speaking or having one-on-one conversations with people. Being Princess K of the Milky Way has certainly changed me for the better. I was able to build upon so many of the talents and the skills that I have naturally, whether that's public speaking, interacting with people, or just sharing stories. I was certainly able to continue building those skills. The coordinators that I worked with through the Midwest Dairy Association were wonderful. They coached me and helped me improve and become the best version of myself. Reflecting back, now that I'm several years out of being Princess K, I know that some of the skills that I have that I use in my job and some of the confidence that I have as a person certainly were things that I was able to develop and hone in on over my year as Princess K.
Growing up, I always had seen pictures of my mom when she was a Mower County Dairy Princess, and I always thought that was very cool. I just never thought that was actually an opportunity that would come to me. But I was very fortunate to have the opportunities that I did within dairy and to be able to be a Princess K finalist. While I was going through the process, I kind of realized I didn't necessarily have the same mentorship and coaching experience as some other my finalists did. Coaches play a very crucial role in the Dairy Princess program from the county level all the way to the state level. Whether it be at the county level, giving the girls the basic foundation to move on to the next level, or at the state level, giving the girls a realistic expectation of what they can see at the state fair. Now being the current Mower County Dairy Princess coordinator, I'm responsible for setting up events for the girls to attend while also serving as their coach and mentor at events and giving them advice on what to say when they're asked media interviews or giving a classroom presentation about a dairy farm. I've brought in former Princess Ks and Princess K finalists to serve as judges at our local county event, which they bring a wealth of knowledge and lots of experience to share with the girls. One thing that I've really enjoyed in our past couple of years judging experience is having the girls sit down, not necessarily go through the process as a straight-on judging experience per se, but more so to get real world life experiences as if they are out at an event and actually being asked questions by actual consumers. One thing that I think is really valuable helping the girls is to have the girls sit down and think about all of their personal experiences on a farm and how different questions can be relayed into personal experiences. For instance, if someone comes up and asks about sustainability, the girl can in turn say that the farm that they're associated with maybe applies manure onto their fields to then help grow crops for the next year for their cows to eat. Different stories like that of a personal experience really do help consumers tie into what the girls are saying and relay a very valuable message.
It's really fun to look at all these magazines and newspaper articles from when Emily was Princess K. I haven't looked at them for a while, and I had forgotten about a lot of these details, things that Emily did. And so it's fun to go back and remember what we did.
It brings back tons of good memories. And here's the actual one from the crowning at the Minnesota State Fair, which is the night before the fair opens.
Right.
Emily's journey to becoming Princess K and her inspiration for the role of Princess K started pretty early in her life because there were a lot of mentors in our county and who helped her along the way as she went through the county ambassador and county princess program. So she started as an ambassador and then became the princess as soon as she was eligible. So that was about 4 years of going to parades and standing in bank lobbies, handing out ice cream cake, and going to schools, going to Children's Museum in Mankato, maybe bringing a calf along, all kinds of things like that.
I remember when she was going to the process of selecting the Princess K, the only advice, I didn't have any advice on how to act or how to do this or that, but my advice was I told her to be yourself. Kids kind of know what they're interested in, what they're excited about or passionate about, so just give them encouragement. Well, the night of the crowning, I had never been to it before, but Jean had been to it, as well as Emily.
Yeah, we invited our entire families, and I think pretty much everyone made it. And my mother was 95 at the time, and so she was there, and she kind of nonchalantly said to our family, "We're gonna win." She just had so much confidence in her granddaughter, so I think Emily maybe carried that forward.
She said we, like it was a team effort.
Yeah, like we're all here and
involved in this campaign.
So I am most proud, and I think Rolf would agree, of Emily's time as Princess K was hearing our daughter speak about the dedication and the hard work of dairy farmers in our state and, all across the country, but she was advocating for Minnesota dairy farmers. And that was just really heartfelt on her part because she lived that growing up and was able to really communicate that. And, to me, that was a big, very positive thing.
I think what's wonderful about the state fair is that it kind of reconnects city people with people that farm. They can go and actually see farmers at the fair and feel connected. I myself come from a family that goes back to the farms of North Dakota out near the Wilmer area. I remember the barns and the animals and the crops. Have such a feeling of nostalgia about family farming. And I think that's why the Princess K program is so popular everywhere in the state, because people do have that nostalgia about the family farm. And Princess K represents farms that remain in the hands of families that are doing their own business right there on the farm.